whole lot of loving is what we'll be bringing. We'll make you happy.
Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of Schools with Heart, my new channel that will teach you everything you need to know about creating this social emotional learning classroom of your dreams. If you haven't watched the first 2 episodes, it's really important that you go back now and watch them before you watch today's video. Each of my videos will build upon the previous videos as I thoughtfully construct a foundation for going forward. Also, I want to make it very clear that I am not promoting any sort of political reform. Neither am I associated with any mandated district, county, or state curriculum. I am a solely 48-year public school veteran dedicated heart and soul to transforming the lives of the children of America, and even those children beyond our shores, with the magnificent power of social emotional learning. The purpose of this channel is to equip the thousands of teachers who are seriously committed to SEL with the tools, strategies, and ideas that they will need to create the classrooms of their dreams. What could be more important at a time when the schools of America, schools in crisis, are crying out for answers? Lastly, before we get started today, I want to remind you that it is vitally important to read my books. You'll see the links at the end of this and every video. My books, you will see when you read them, are the backbone of my channel. Okay, let's get going with another foundational component of Schools with Heart, which can be summed up by my absolute favorite quote, one by Dr. Martin Luther King, that I promote almost daily with my students. It's not about how smart you are. It's about how hard you are willing to work and the quality of your character. Now, I'm so excited to read you several student reflections about the quote and show you how we display the quote in every classroom in our school. So, first I want to show you my most recent book, Posters for Schools with Heart. This book just came out, and it goes with this book, which is the story of the school where I'm working right now. And you may recall, or perhaps I haven't even said this, I'm not sure, that my principal one day said to me, Olivia, you have to find a way to share these wonderful posters with the world. And so the book, which came about a year later, is the answer to that. And so in this book, you have 30 posters that you can make. For example, this is not exactly the Martin Luther King quote poster that I just held up, but if you don't like this one of him, you can go to clip art and find the exact one and change them out. But anyway, so here's the book that will help you get all these posters into your classroom. And so last year, before I even knew I was going to write this book, I asked my students one day for a writing lesson to look around the room and pick the quote that most inspired them. So this was a writing lesson, and then I took all their paragraphs home and stored them on a little shelf and forgot about them until I realized that I was going to write a book on posters, and I thought, wow, I'll include the student references. And so here we have several students who picked the Martin Luther King quote as their favorite quote. Mary says, my favorite quote in Miss LaField's class is the Martin Luther King quote. I am touched by this poster because it inspires me to work hard. I know I may not be smart. However, I am willing to work really hard to achieve my absolute best. I read this poster every single day when I walk into this class, and it inspires me to work hard. Selena says, in my opinion, I think the best poster in Miss LaField's class is the Martin Luther King Jr. poster. His poster reminds me that it's okay to be myself and that I should never try to be someone I'm not. It's true that it doesn't matter how smart I am in my head. It's about how heart smart I am, just like Miss LaField tells me. Without a doubt, I strongly believe that poster makes school a happier place. And let's see, Miranda says, my favorite poster is the Martin Luther King poster. It inspired me because I am not very smart when it comes to math. When Miss LaField explained this quote, I was like, someone actually gets me. Every class that I go into, everyone is smarter than me. And I'm just sitting there looking at the problem and thinking, why can't I understand it? But now I finally realize that it doesn't matter how smart I am, as long as I'm willing to work hard and have a right heart. Oh, don't you just love that? And finally, Madison says, my favorite poster would have to be the Martin Luther King poster. When I read this poster, I was confused at first because I truly thought that if you want to get somewhere, you have to be really smart to get there. However, I found out that it doesn't always depend on your IQ, but as the poster says, how hard you are willing to work. So you can see from just those student reflections how this one poster, which is in every classroom in our school, I made them for all the teachers, how so many students said, this is my favorite poster because it had something to do with it. They didn't think they were very smart. That is a message that needs to go all over the world. So, I hope you are inspired by this poster and that you will decide to make one for your classroom. So now let's talk about why Dr. King's quote is so very dear to my heart and is such an integral part of our SEL curriculum. And one way for me to explain its importance is by sharing my own story. When I was 13 years old, I was diagnosed with epilepsy. To control the seizures, I was put on a very powerful barbiturate called phenobarbital. The side effect of that drug was that it made me very tired, and as a result, I slept most of the way through high school. I actually fell asleep in class daily, and I was lucky to pass with C's. In fact, I graduated with a 2.7 GPA. I have two sisters and a brother who never came home with anything but A's, and devastatingly for me, I was constantly compared to them. Try to imagine how that affected my self-concept. By the time I was in 10th grade, I believed with all my heart that I was stupid. Nobody, not one single person, ever expected me to go to college, much less become a teacher. But after I graduated from high school, I refused to take that drug another day, and my parents finally found a medication that worked for me. That's when I entered the community college in our town and really started working hard to prove to everyone, and mostly myself, that I wasn't stupid. Long before that time, I knew that I was born to be a teacher, and for all those excruciating high school years, I hung on to that dream despite my low grades. I never quit. I knew on a deep down cellular level that I would never be happy being anything but a teacher. My saving grace was that I had a growth mindset and I was emotionally intelligent. I was smart about my feelings and didn't allow depression over my medical condition to stop me. I actually lived Dr. King's quote. And believe me, my students know the story. As a result of my own struggles, I completely relate to my students who think they are stupid. And you know, if you've been teaching long enough, that our classrooms are filled with students who doubt their ability to learn the material that we expect of them. They are the ones who give up and eventually drop out. They're plagued with a debilitating fixed mindset, and they are quitters. How can we help our students overcome negative mindsets? How can we light their fires and inspire them to work hard to reach their full potential? There was a time, my first 15 years of teaching, that I had no answers. The truth is, it wasn't the problem back then that it is today. But I can promise you that there are answers. And if you will stick with me and make a full-blown commitment to seeking the answers, you will witness miracles. To begin with, one of the answers is to introduce growth mindset into your curriculum. You will have to make a fabulous bulletin board that highlights it, and you will have to teach your students all about it. You will have to create an environment where your students are safe to admit the truth about their mindsets. I wrote all about it in The School That Love Built. The School That Love Built. You'll read the chapter and you'll need to watch Carol Dweck's YouTube videos that really explain it. You will need to get nothing less than passionate about growth mindset. Learn about the power of yet and teach your students that I can't must be followed with yet. I can't yet. Learning about growth mindset was a complete game changer for me. It was in 2012 at a conference for the California League of Middle Schools in Sacramento. The highlight speaker played one of Carol Dweck's videos, and I sat there 100% transfixed. I knew in my spirit that what I was hearing would turn things around in my classroom forever. And I'm testifying to you today that it did. But you must understand that I don't just talk about growth mindset once in a while. I flood my students with the concept. Even our second graders know all about growth mindset. They learn that if math is hard for them, what's most important is that they never give up and that they must work hard, especially when they feel like quitting. We do not praise our kids because they're smart. We praise them for their hard work. Carol Dweck talks about the right way to praise on one of her videos. You should watch it and learn. Remember, King's quote begins with, "It's not about how smart you are." We teach our kids that Dr. King is talking about our IQ. We call it head smart. We teach them that he's saying what's important is not how head smart you are, but how heart smart you are. Heart smart versus head smart. Read in my book, Living the Lessons, how I explain the difference to our students using Einstein and Mother Teresa as examples. Our students learn that it's great to be really head smart, but it's much more important to be heart smart. Beginning in second grade, they learn that being heart smart is the same as being emotionally intelligent. They learn the great news that 80% of our success in life is determined by our degree of emotional intelligence, and that emotional intelligence is being smart about your feelings and the feelings of others. Our little ones actually learn that definition by heart. In this video, I've just scratched the surface about 2 SEL concepts that will transform your classroom: growth mindset and emotional intelligence. In videos to come, I will dive much deeper and give you more details, more guidance, more instruction on the 2. But for the time being, trust me to believe this. It is not difficult to learn about and introduce these concepts. But it's like anything new, it takes time, unswerving commitment, and a growth mindset. Rome wasn't built in a day, and your dream class will take time to create. It will be a journey of one lesson at a time, one day at a time, one breakthrough at a time. Be patient with yourself. It's baby steps. Live the power of yet, right along with your students, and cling to hope. Celebrate your victories and learn from your defeats. And remember, every second that your SEL lessons are more important than your academic lessons. They take time away from your standards lessons, to be sure, but they must be your top priority. Changing your priorities may be difficult for you. That is completely understandable. Hopefully your principal will support your efforts. If that's not the case, give your principal my book, The School That Love Built. Don't let anything dissuade you from your commitment to creating the SEL classroom of your dreams. I promise that it will be infinitely worth the effort. Watch every one of my videos, read my books, learn about growth mindset, and most important, dedicate yourself, heart and soul, to learning to love your students unconditionally. Adopt my motto, the value of a single child surpasses that of a galaxy of stars, and you will see miracles unfold. God loves each and every one of us despite ourselves, and that's how He wants us to love His children. If you don't watch a lot of YouTube videos, you may not realize the vital importance of clicking the like button, subscribing, and clicking the notification bell. It's your way of supporting this channel and launching our movement. This channel is literally in its infancy. The only way to get it rolling is for viewers to get the algorithms going by faithfully clicking. In the days to come, I anticipate and hope that you will share your victories, struggles, and questions in the comments. I promise to read every one and respond in future videos. I want to connect with you on a heart level. Join my Facebook group called SEL with Olivia and share my channel with your Facebook friends. I'm also working hard to launch a weekly live broadcast every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time. There you'll be able to ask questions, share concerns, and get to know me personally. So stay tuned for that. Let's create a community of online SEL learners, and together let's prove to the world that we can create public schools in America where parents are proud to enroll their children. I conclude today with the wisdom of Daniel Goleman, author of Emotional Intelligence, who believes strongly, quote, "With the curriculum already besieged with the proliferation of new topics and agendas, some teachers who understandably feel overwhelmed resist taking extra time from the basics for yet another course. So an emerging strategy in emotional education is not to create a new class, but to blend lessons on feelings and relationships with other topics already taught. Emotional lessons can merge naturally into reading, writing, math, health, science, social studies, and other standard courses as well." End quote. In my book, Living the Lessons, I dedicate an entire lengthy chapter on how precisely to blend SEL into the standard academic curriculum. I began doing it over 30 years ago when I completely revamped my curriculum to include what we then called character education. The name has changed, but the content is the same. In my episode 4, I'll share a fun method for inspiring your students to work hard and achieve their best. Be sure not to miss it, because your kids will love it. Until then, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.